Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 7th Do's and Don'ts session. This is a series of workshops that we created as part of the CASTIEL 2 Work Package 4, together with NCC Netherlands, in particular with Andrea Moga. For this series of workshops, we are trying to hear about all the lessons learned and all your experiences that you've gathered from within your NCCs or COEs. And today, for the second session, we are going to focus on the collaboration between NCCs or COEs and EDIs, especially regarding industry topics. Today, we will hear from two NCCs, first from NCC Ireland, then from NCC Latvia. Just for your information, the presentations will be recorded, and we'll have around 10 minutes for each talk. And after each talk, we will have a dedicated Q&A session. And at the very end of this event, if there's still some time left, we can have a general Q&A or discussion. And as always, if you have any questions or comments for the speakers, please write them in the chat so we can discuss them after each talk in the Q&A session. So let's get started with our first talk from NCC Ireland. So welcome, Peter, and the stage is yours once I stop sharing my screen.
How is that?
Yes, perfect. We can see your slides.
You can see me and you can hear me.
Yes.
Perfect. So thank you very much, Karen, and thank you very much for everyone that's here today. This topic is very close to my heart in iTech in Ireland, basically, because not only are we NCC, but we're also partners in an EDI. So I guess we're in a unique position to talk about both. Well, probably not unique, but in a strong position to talk about both and the complementarity of both of them. When we started NCC quite a bit before the EDI, and we weren't sure of how they would work together, but we have found a way of working and making sure that they work hand in hand, and it's working out particularly well for us in Ireland. So I hope it is working for all of you as well. I guess what I would really like to do is to try and find out who on the call is also, or their institution, sorry, not them themselves, but their institution is also involved with an EDI. I am assuming everyone here is involved with a COE or a NCC, but if there's anyone here that is involved with an EDI, maybe you can give a thumbs up or write your name and details in the call, because I would like to follow up on you and see how you are doing it also, rather than just leaving it at this call, because as I say, it's something that seems to be working very well for us in Ireland. But I'm sure there's lots of things we could learn also. So if there's anyone that could reach out or would like to reach out and maybe take the thing or in the Q&A afterwards, or even if you want to reach out to me specifically, please do. My email's there. So thanks for that. I'm going to start with go back to basically the start of when NCC when we started NCC. I think that's 2019. I'm not sure Karen or Marie-Francois will correct me, but when we started out, we obviously had to figure out how do we attract industry. And this was something that was not only for the NCC, but was for the Irish Centre for High-End Computing as a whole. But the NCC give us a vehicle to do it in a manner that, and I always say this, being part of EuroCC or Euro HPC is a strong card for us to play in Ireland. And it's not because it is because we in Ireland are relatively small, but when we always say that we can get access to the bigger machines, the bigger infrastructure, the access to other NCCs and now access to other CEOs, it actually strengthens our hand in a lot of ways, because again, us being Ireland, whilst we're very good at what we do, we're small. Realistically, we're small, so we have to have that backup, and that Euro HPC and being an NCC has given us that. So we had to sort of figure out a way of promoting that and letting every industry in Ireland know that not only is there access to supercomputing here in Ireland, but there's access further afield if needed. So what we did was we set up a thing called an SME accelerator, and this was a way of just promoting the NCC and promoting how industry can access HPC in big data and large infrastructure, whatever you want to call it. It was a way of doing it. So we promoted this, and we had what was called the SME accelerator, and now that give access to one-to-one mentoring. You'll see here it was a flyer we put out pre-COVID, and what it did was it brought people in-house, and well, at the start they were coming in 1 or 2 days a week into their office. COVID sort of put a stop to that for obvious reasons, and we've never really got back to that model, but it did work really well when it was working. What we did was we do not develop, obviously for IP reasons we don't develop, but we assist them. And what the model I always give is when industries are starting off to use HPC, big infrastructure, and anything like that, they sort of may know 30-40% of things, and we have to give them the other 60-70%. But over time, that 30-40 becomes the 60-70, 80-90. And the fact that we're always there in the background, we get companies coming back that we had SME accelerators with maybe 4 or 5 years ago, give them the grounding, they go away, they learn about it, they come more. But they continually come back to us. Now, they may come back with a query that lasts a day, or may come back with a query that lasts a week. But they will come back, and the fact that we're there in the background was always very, very comforting for them. And it was great for us to get. It's not we'll do this thing for you, we'll give you a black box, we'll send it off to you, and that's your problem solved and good luck. It was never like that and never meant to be. And I would assume that everyone here on this call is in the same boat. We don't want a fix. There you go. That'll be X amount of money or X amount of time for NCC or X amount of time for the EDI. No, we want to develop relationships, and that's how companies grow. And we have seen companies grow. We've seen companies go from 2 or 3 people up to 40, 50 people. Now, we're not taking all the credit for that, but there's definitely something in what we do that allows companies to grow. So this SME accelerator, and what we did was we made sure we kept it lightweight. So we had a sort of a 2 or 3 page application form that companies filled out, and it got the conversation going. As I said, when we started this, we weren't certain how it would work. It worked very, very well. What we did was we limited the amount of time that any SME could claim under the SME accelerator to ideally initially 3 months, and for every 3 months we put in, they had to contribute 6 months. So it was a 9-month project over the course of probably about 6 or 8 or 9 months. That's the way we did it initially. And it was to stop someone coming along and say, we want a project that's going to take up all our resources. Again, it worked incredibly well. We had loads of applications. But what happened then was, as part of NCC, we had to also reach out to public sector. So we had to bend the rules slightly there, and we went from 3366 to 50-50. So a public sector had to put in 50%, we had to put 50%. And then from that, then we went on to large industry, which after one of our reviews, we were sort of pointed out we weren't doing it. And we went the other way with that. So we went even higher with them. So they had to put in more time and we had to put in less. So depending on the client, as we'll call it, we had different variations, all more or less doing the same thing, giving them access to infrastructure, access to time, training courses if required, and even in some cases, training courses were designed for the industries themselves. So these things all happened. So as part of EuroCC, we had the SME accelerator, and to date we've completed 22 projects. We've actually there's more that have started, and just because it didn't finish. Now, as I always say to companies, HPC is great, but it may not be for you at the minute. But the fact they're trying it and they're getting to know it, it means that it's in their heads, and they will try again. And I've no doubt some of them, the ones that weren't particularly successful, will come back to us. We moved on to the HPC Innovation Hub with some lovely projects with the fire brigade, with the ambulance service, with the central bank, some of the large organizations, the NTA, and then with the Enterprise Accelerator. Now, we've done only 3 projects of this, and the reason is, me personally, probably as much as anything, I think large industry, they have enough. They have enough, and they do have the skills and the expertise to do it, unless they have a specific problem. So if they have a specific problem, they come to us and we help them with it. But I don't particularly, again, probably me personally, don't particularly reach out to large enterprises, because I don't see the need as much as it is for SMEs. But we never rule them out, obviously. So the most interesting part is where these interactions happen. And we've seen this, and I've actually seen, there's one up there, public sector and industry. And I can tell you a case where we were doing a public sector one with Pubble, and we were doing an industry one, and they got to know each other, and now they're working together. So even though it's outside of my scope, I know there is a project going on. Well, at least it was going on about 3 or 4 months ago, and I hope it still is. So it's these interactions that we're trying to promote, so that the results of the work for the NCCs is not only between NCC and enterprise, but it sort of reaches out and expands the whole HPC base throughout the whole of the country. And I do believe that we're doing that. So we then moved on, and 2023. Well, we went on a little bit before that, but we were partners in a European Digital Innovation Hub bid, and it's called Factory Exchange. And you'll see down here, iTech's down here with Irish Manufacturing, Insight, TUS, KPMG, and Data Value Hub. So, as I said at the outset, we in Ireland are lucky that we're part of both an EDIH and an NCC. And it was always a question in our head: how do we merge these two? And with EuroCC2, it actually became a little bit clearer. So in our digital innovation hub in Factory Exchange, we have a marketplace, and what we do is we list services, and you'll see that marketplace here. It's actually a lovely website. It's very well used. We're hitting 4.5 million of turnover or pass through in the last 2 years. We at iCheck are close to 1 million in turnover in the last 2 years. Or sorry, not turnover, in pass through over the last 2 years. So it's been very, very successful for us. It's a little bit more targeted in the projects that we do. They're smaller, they're not as long term as we would have done in the SME Accelerator. But again, that has helped us in many ways, and I'll explain that now. But the link is there, factoryexchange.ie. Maybe have a look. And again, I'll go back to my point. If there's anyone here that's involved with an EDI, I'd ask them to reach out, because it's even part of our KPIs that we have to engage with other EDIs. We are doing that anyway. But I would really like to know the sort of correlation between what you're doing as your NCC, or your organization's doing as an NCC, and what your organization is doing as an EDI. So if there is anyone else out there, please get in touch and we can have a chat. So our EDI's doing really well, our NCC is doing well. So where's the interaction between the two? And our HPC initial inquiries, these are sort of inquiries into iCheck. We get them on a regular basis, or I meet clients at conferences or SMEs at conferences, and the conversation starts. And I would always direct them to the NCC consultation. The NCC, and it goes back to what I said earlier, is that we're part of Euro HPC. It's a big organization. It actually sells a lot better for me and us in Ireland to say we're part of Euro HPC, EuroCC2. We have access to all these massive supercomputers, all this infrastructure that's been built. It really does sell well for us. So plus it gives us the screening process to allow where to go to the next steps. And just the flip side of that is, we, as part of the EDI, the Factory Exchange, are known as the HPC experts. So if any of the other partners have an SME that has expresses an interest in HPC, they're directed to us. So that initial blue square, or whatever shape that is, there's quite a lot of calls coming in there on a fairly regular basis. And we do the initial screening through EuroCC, which is step 2 here, and from that then we decide where to go. So it can continue with EuroCC. Because of funding, it's slightly less than what it would have been before, but we can still continue with them on a number of different things, whether it be training or diff or SME Accelerator still going. So there is variations. The Factory Exchange then probably at this stage takes up the bulk of the inquiries, realistically. But there's more numbers, but less less intense projects. So you could have an SME that's doing 5 days work as part of an EDI, and so be it. It's great. Or then the final one is, if it doesn't fall into either of those two, we can actually offer commercial consultancy services. Very rare in our case, not because we couldn't do it, but because we don't have the bandwidth. All our experts, all our time is in the EuroCC or in factory exchange, so we don't have the time. And I've actually tried to pass on a few of them to NCCs in within Europe. Some of them have worked out, some of them not so much. But these are the pathways we go. So then obviously that ends up with loads of projects, loads of inquiries coming in, and a few projects coming out, whether they be long or short. These are the projects coming out. So just this is sort of my summary of what we're doing right and what we're not doing, or the do's and the don'ts, whatever you want to call it. So open-minded, I would say. And again, being Ireland, being small, you would tend to think, oh, there's not that many companies that would need HPC or not need big data. Or maybe 3 years ago, you'd say, oh, well, we don't need AI. Now, obviously, that's been blown out of the water in the last couple of years. But be open-minded. And I always say to every company I meet, HPC is for every enterprise. It's a matter of when, not if. So if you're an enterprise that's going to grow, HPC will be for you. And you might be small at the minute. You might say, oh, well, it's not for me. It's not for you yet, would be my thing. So be open-minded and say, well, look, okay, you're small now and you're doing whatever you're doing. But when you grow to X amount size, and when you hit this problem, which you inevitably will, come back and touch. So just be open-minded, and with both the NCC and the EDI. And again, if you're not part of an EDI at the moment, or your enterprise is not part, or your organization is not part of an EDI, there will be EDIs in your country or your area or whatever. So just bear that in mind. So if your NCC is not ideal for them at the minute, I would guarantee that one of your EDIs is. And if it's not one of your EDIs, then an EDI in the European network. So there's always something for every enterprise, and always, no matter who you're talking to, push that message would be a strong point of mine. And it will come back to benefit you, your organization, your EDI, your NCC in the longer term. The Euro HPC is a perfect initial contact point for all enterprise. Again, this is probably the third or fourth time saying it, but it's a big stick for me to say I'm part of Euro HPC. It's a big stick for iTech to say we're part of Euro HPC, because of the backing that we have, both from even on this call this morning. If we didn't have that, then if we didn't have this call this morning and I'm talking to one person in a room, but the calls like this, everything that we do, just being part of the network is very, very strong. So never undersell that. Push that as much as you can. Engage with other NCCs when required for technical expertise. Again, I've said it a few times, iTech is quite small. We're limited in our bandwidth. We're limited in our expertise. And don't be afraid to engage. We've done it a few times with other NCCs, and we've always found it very, very useful, very helpful. And sometimes people say to me that you should say that you're an expert in everything, but it will always come back to bite you. So you have to sort of be honest and say, well, quantum computing is not an area we do, but there is an NCC over in Holland, which we've dealt with, and they are very good at XYZ. So we put them on them. So just try to be honest with the client, because I do honestly, I do think that it will come back to bite you eventually. So just be honest with what you have, and when you don't have it, I could almost guarantee, someone might correct me, but I almost guarantee within the NCC network there will be someone there that will help you and will have the expertise to help you. So engage with other NCCs whenever you can. Bite-sized projects. This is probably one of the biggest lessons I learned from doing the Euro HPC SME Accelerator, as opposed to moving on to the EDIHs and the factory exchange marketplaces. By doing smaller projects of maybe 5 days, 10 days. Now that's 5 days, 10 days work, which could be over a month, could be over two months, but it really sets the tone and sets the appetite for the SMEs. The important thing for that is you have to have a mechanism where they can come back, because realistically, you're not going to do much in 5 or 10 days work. You will whet the appetite, you will get the process going, but you won't complete any projects. So they have to be able to return. We have a self-imposed limit of 60,000 worth of services in the factory exchange. So our project, our average project size is probably about 10 to 15,000. So in theory, they can do 4 projects in the factory exchange before they hit the limit. So what we do is we go in and we do project 1 or whatever service 1, and then you can move on to service 2. The vast majority of clients do move on to service 2, some don't. If they don't, doesn't mean it wasn't successful. It just means that we've proven that whatever that service was, it's been proven to them that it's not appropriate for them, and maybe they move to a different partner in the EDI, or maybe they move away from it altogether. But the fact they've done one, there's a very good chance that they'll come back. So the don'ts are a little bit sort of probably the inverse of what I said for the do's. No company left back. Again, every company for me can use HPC. It's a matter of when, not if. Don't promise too much. Budgets and bandwidths are limited. And I'm speaking as an Irish context here, but I'm assuming everybody else has the same problems. By promising too much, you will overstretch and you'll just annoy people. Try and keep it as realistic as possible. And going back to my 4-2 there, I would recommend keeping it small initially, and repeat, small and repeat. And my final don't is, don't take on a project where you don't have technical expertise. I've heard this before, and some of my own team would say it to me, yeah, but I can learn that. You can, but you'll probably end up spending so much time learning it that you're not doing what you should be doing, and you will never get to the level where you're an expert with, again, say NCC in Holland or whatever, because they're specialized in it. So don't try and do it. Reach out. Don't feel like you're giving things away. You're not. Well, we're not anyway, because we've enough with what we have. So try and concentrate on what you're good at, and concentrate. And I always say this to the technical staff I'm working, concentrate on what you like. Tell me what you like, and if there's something that you like that's technically good, you'd nearly be certain that there's a company out there that would benefit from that. The fact that they like it means they'll do more and they'll get more engaged, and the company will realize that. Whereas if they're doing something on the hoof and they're trying to learn it and they're saying things, the companies are not silly. Like the people that they may not understand the technicalities of the work that's being done, but they can pick up on the interactions, and they realize, oh no, Peter is learning this, and oh yeah, I'll get back to you on that question. Oh yeah, I'll get back to you. That comes across, and it just doesn't sit well with the clients, and it can create a sort of a negative, which nobody wants to do. So I think, Karen, that's all my do's and don'ts, my sort of history of iCheck in relation to the NCC, in relation to EDIH. And that's basically all I have to say, I think. That's so I'm on to my notes, if that's okay.
Yes, thank you very much, Peter, for this presentation. So now we do move on to NCC Latvia, and we have Irina as a speaker here today, together, I think, with Kalis.
Yeah, thank you, Karen. Thank you very much also for Peter and to sharing the experience. It was really amazing. I will add some things from the Latvia. Wait a minute, I will show my presentation. I hope everyone can see it properly. So hello from everyone. I'm from NCC Latvia. I'm Irina, and afterwards for the presentation we'll help also the Carlos from also NCC Latvia. And I would like to start to say that we have this amazing project, there is CC2, which is the like a bridge with EDIHs in or NCC Latvia and EDIH. And we have two most important EDIH in Latvia. It's like a Latvian ETech cluster and Digital Acceleration of Latvia, LDA. And what I can say more that this kind of project, how we start to collaborate, let's say, we decide to do it by the scheme, like we with this project communication with EDIHs, and EDIHs will communicate with the industry So we like have the EDIHs like a bridge to connect the SMEs. For sure, we also do like straight connections also with the SMEs, but we understand that people are more want to digitalize the things, and they want to be more educated, and EDIHs are perfect platform to share our experience. And here I will share that one EDIH, how it looks like, and they provide a lot of grants programs about education. They have this kind of the prices for this different things when they have. This was the second EDIH, like a website. And here is also the map of our country, like where is the mentioned these contact points. And this is also the things what we do, like collaborative with this kind of project. So for example, if we have some kind of events from our RCC 2, for example, in Liepāja, so we collaborate with the 2 points of these EDIHs, and this is how we got also the industry involved in HPC team, and also share the EDIH offers what they can provide for the SMEs if someone don't know or want to be educated, or use, for example, HPC resources or platform. So this is the way how we collaborate and we're doing this kind of events in this kind of regional points, and do this first educational steps. What is the most important, what we understand from all the beginning? So we need to little bit educate the EDIH about our project, about what we're doing, what is HPC, like how it works, and this is like a way how we can connect also this mess. This is like how to say, the small access to HPC that they can try it, they can ask the questions, that they can use the experts from our project, and we are like open to collaborate with them. And this was the way like how companies are get involved, and how companies they ask the questions, are interested to about also the HPC platform, and how to make the connections. And also I want to say that most important also was this FF4 era HPC project, where we get also involvement from the industries, so they are more interested when they get some also kind of support and benefit for it. One of the important topic what we got is the challenges in the implementation or idea how to will cooperate with EDIHs and how we'll reach the industry. First of all, we understand that how the EDIHs are in this HPC ecosystem, like how it totally looks like in our country, like how they are managing, how they are perceived to each other. And mostly I would say that after like second year, it's started to be a really very nice scheme, but they provide that each EDIHs are responsible for the different teams, and we are like supporters also for them. Second one was the challenge that not all the EDIHs understand what especially NCC Latvia is doing, like how we help the SMEs, like how they can proceed this, and we got this kind of first educational steps for them. We have the meetings with them, we involve them in our events, and we get also involved in their events too, to like collaborate. And this is somehow what we right now reach, that we already have just that know about us, they understand what we're doing. And also this most important thing is this, we try to include just OR's HPC services for industry that they can apply, and we try to get the advertisement with the EDIHs, so we really collaborate very closely to that. And actually, we need to think about the collaboration for the perspective, like how we need to do and how we'll do in the future, because we are trying to provide all the information, like educational program things what we can do for them. And this is the one thing what need to think about for the future steps. And we have one example, and here I would like to ask to speak the Carlis, because he has the try how to be in the industry part.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Irina. I'll just ask for you to go to the next slide when necessary, right? So, yeah, as Irina already told you, there are two EDIs in Latvia. One is specialized in giving training and support of buying software for companies and other institutions that are their potential clients. And the other EDI is the Latvian Digital Accelerator, which specializes in creating these solutions that are created from scratch or are tested from scratch. In other words, not training and not buying software, but some solution, not development, but help in developing solutions. The same as in EuroCC, we are not allowed to develop for the clients. They are allowed to somehow create these proof of concepts. And another thing is that these EDIs, in my opinion, are much more popular than our NCC, as much as we'd hate to admit it, but they are the ones who hold the key to the gate for funding, in a way. So that's why the interest in them is much bigger, and we try to use it for our advantage, because they have a big network or a big database of contacts, and then we exchange these contacts so that for both their and our events there are there's just more audience to speak to. And so this case study I will show, it's just a short story about from the point of view of the company, how we proceeded with a project. And so the project was made in collaboration with the Latvian Digital Accelerator, which, so to speak, also helps companies develop these proof of concept projects. The EDI has several partners all across Latvia. You can see that both Riga Technical University and University of Latvia and many others are part of the accelerator. And as I understand, each of them has a funding limit to give out, or and I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it somehow limits, for example, the possibilities for companies to be served. For example, if the University of Latvia or Riga Technical University has these HPC competencies, and we have together with companies developed ideas or projects, and then each of us, for example, can provide only competencies to 2 projects, and that's it. And then for other partners, they somehow have to find a way to get around these limitations and maybe hire experts from University of Latvia or Riga Technical University to develop this HPC proof of concept project. But yeah, there are I think many barriers, but it's possible to jump over them if there's motivation enough from both the NCC and the company. So yeah, next slide, please. So there was this one project. Okay, there's the one box on the left missing, but that's not so bad. So there was this company. They specialize in testing and in testing laboratory accreditation. So and first, before any of these, they contacted us because they knew something about HPC. So and in these consultations, there were several of them. We somehow got to a project idea, which they found as, let's say, profitable or the potential of the idea could be profitable for their company in some way in the future. So the idea for the company was to create a virtual laboratory where they would create a system where it's possible, for example, for builders or architects to upload a 3D design and then on HPC calculate their performance, for example, in heat exchange, to understand how the construction transfers heat. So they had all these building blocks, and the project was to somehow put together these blocks. The project also included Valdur as a login system, and it included another system which is open on demand for accessing the HPC cluster through web. So all of these things had to be put together and then tested, and to get to a final, how to say, service which they would provide, which is a virtual laboratory that gives out test results from these kind of simulations. Next slide, please. So, and as we were closely involved with the project, I can show the timeline of it all. So, and from the point of view from the company, as I told before, first there were these consultations with NCC Latvia, where we somehow formalized the idea and the goals of the project, and we knew that there would be this financing available from EDIHs, so that's how we constructed this frame around the project. And we started these consultations in summer of 2023. Then the company did the digital readiness test, which is obligatory for the companies that cooperate with EDIHs. They also continued the process for getting the funding. Well, I understand EDIHs are not the ones who give out funding, but they somehow create all the necessary documentation for it. So the process continued with them for this. The company asked the 20,000 euro project from EDIH, or how to say, the idea they had in mind. So EDIH had a service that they give out 20,000 euros for testing and developing in a limited way for these projects. So that's where we went, and we created the project with this in mind. So they did all these digital readiness tests. They did all these documentations together with the EDIHs, and they signed the contract. And then they made the digital roadmap where the project was described in more detail. So as you can see, this already has taken them 3 months. And then to get the project going with the ones who are the contractors for testing for all the activities in the project. Also, contracts had to be signed and financing agreed upon. So, and the project started on summer or June of 2024 and lasted 6 months. and successfully ended on December 2024. So as you can see, from the idea of the project until the successful realization of it, it was almost 1.5 years, which is quite a long time. And maybe let's go to the next slide. This somehow summarizes my idea of the process, my remarks of the whole process. So for any company, I think it's well, not for all of them, but for the small companies which want to get financing from grants or, for example, FF Plus or EDIHs, it's good to have a project idea, or I don't know, even a one-pager of a project in hand. So whenever an opportunity rises, they can go already with a ready. So they can go to the proposal process with an already clear idea in mind. And if they don't have this idea, then it's not possible. And then, as this process takes almost 1.5 years, well, this was not. It could maybe take a shorter time to complete the project, but I think it's so it could take less, but probably not, and it could take more, but probably also not. So maybe this is like an average length of this whole process. So, and it's really easy for the company to lose motivation for this I would say relatively small project. So in my mind, NCC acts as a motivator and to help maintain the momentum of the project. And what else I would like to say? I didn't write this here, but there is a lot of filling out documents involved. So whenever there is a possibility to decrease the amount of paperwork, I would go and use this opportunity. For example, maybe there are there could be some non-disclosure agreements that the company asks for, but if they don't ask for a specific non-disclosure agreement or a specific document, then I won't go and tell them that it's necessary, even if it maybe somehow protects either of us. Oh, I could mention them. It's not that I want to hide anything from them, but each and every document that has to be signed just adds days to the whole process. So the less paperwork, the better. And yeah, that's all from my side.
And thank you, Carlos. And we are finished our presentation, and this is time for questions and answers to you. So we are open to hear from the audience.
Okay, so thank you both Irina and Carlos for this presentation and sharing your insights. Yeah, if there are any questions from the audience, please feel free to either write them in the chat or raise your hand. Okay, thank you for this answer. Are there any more questions? All right, then I would like to point out towards the short survey that Marie-Françoise sent in the chat. She just sent it again. Great. I'm afraid we probably don't have time now to discuss the results, but please all fill it out, even if you are not collaborating currently with any EDs with your COE or NCC. And then we're already at the end of today's session. I would like to thank all of our 3 speakers today. Again, thank you for your presentations and for sharing your experiences and your insights. I think it was, again, very valuable to hear all of the experiences that you've made and the lessons that you've learned. I think it's always great if we can just share those things within the network. I would also like to take this opportunity to invite all other NCCs and of course also the COEs that if you want to present anything and share your experiences, or if there's a topic that you would like to hear about from others, we're always welcoming suggestions for topics. We're also welcoming, of course, volunteer speakers for future sessions. So just send us an email to let us know. And with that, we're at the very end. Thank you all for joining. I think for some of you, it was rather an early start in the day. So thank you for getting up early. For all the rest, have a great day. And we'll hopefully see you at one of the next sessions.
Thank you.